Timeless is a fearless independent fireball from Victoria, fusing melodic rap and R&B to convey vulnerable experiences while challenging the music industry's toxic algorithm with a passion for sustainability, aiming to break barriers and uplift local artists while forever rocking purple. And Timeless is on the line with us here. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
So, how do you think your own cultural background has influenced your approach to music? Because you are described as an independent Arab Canadian fireball.
I think it definitely helps me build a vast connection within the music industry. I'm able to try out different melodies quite easily, just personally from having a lot of experience already listening to such. So
Yeah.
I think that it's not only my culture, but also just spending years and years and years listening to so many different artists.
Yeah, and you've coined the term melodic rap and R&B fusion. So, can you elaborate on how this fusion enhances the storytelling in your music?
Yeah, I think that throughout starting being an independent artist and really deciding to take music seriously and wanting to be an artist, it was always a question of, well, you're a vocalist, but you're rapping. And it's really, really hard for a lot of artists when they start putting their music out. They start asking themselves, what genre am I? And it's pretty intimidating.
Mm.
But I think the whole idea of melodic rap is that you're able to speak quickly, you're able to deliver a melody that may be in trend, but you're still delivering things from your vocals.
Mm.
You're still singing, you're still vulnerable, you're still expressing what's going on within your mind.
Yeah. And you mentioned, well, you've spoken before about being inspired by trauma and pain. So, how does that translate into your music? And how do you kind of challenge those experiences to motivate you and your audience positively?
I think honestly, growing up and seeing a lot of the artists that I really love and looking into them and reading more about them beyond just the music they put out, questioning the things they say has allowed me to not only appreciate but sort of find motivation from the trauma and things that I've personally been through throughout my youth. And it allows me to sit down and choose to want to inspire and help others with the songs that I'm putting out, not just build some sort of facade or trend, because trend setting is amazing. But I think that there's a whole other side of being an artist, and that's really trying to bring light to what you're going through in a different way.
Yeah. And you have a strong stance on changing the toxic algorithm of success in the music industry, as I mentioned. So, what specific changes would you like to see, and how do you envision contributing to that change?
Personally, I really think independent artists who are not signed to a label or who are not being represented by someone else in an agency form need a bigger chance. They need more access to studios, more access to engineers and people that can help them get to where they want to go. Because being an artist, especially a music artist, it's not easy. It's really not easy. And it's not as easy as just recording and pressing post. It's
Hmm.
intimidating. And I think that when I specifically say breaking an algorithm, we see, especially here from a small city, like we talked about, all the charting artists that we love. But the thing is, there's such a current trend and cycle of how these people blow up in such a
Yeah.
short period of time, and it honestly makes it look impossible for people who are in such a small place and don't have that fast of a connection to the, so I think that it comes down to building a higher connection between independent artists and signed artists. And I think that award shows and those types of things need to include independent artists and recognize more of what goes behind that.
Yeah. And you're from a small place yourself. You came from a small island. So I guess you have that desire yourself to break barriers and hopefully bring some other local artists with you.
Yeah, being born, I mean, I'm in the capital of British Columbia, so it comes across like it's a big city, but being born here and especially never leaving this island, always staying here for all of my life, you see the same things, you hear the same conversations.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, this whole idea of social media, it becomes questionable because it's like, yeah, you can access everything, but is it connection? Are you truly building connection with these people, or are you just able to go and click on everybody's different posts? You know what I mean? So I definitely have the inspiration to connect with all of my inspirations who are not on this tiny island, but I also really am inspired to like prove that it is possible no matter where you're from and no matter if you have 100 people in your town or 50,000. I really think it is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you think your upbringing in that small island has influenced your perspective on success? And do you think it has maybe hindered your chances?
I think yeah, it's definitely a personal journey. It's a thing where I'm always motivated, of course, with telling my story, and I look at it from that perspective of when it's meant to be told, it will be heard, and that's why I say timeless forever somewhere. But I do think that being born here, it's definitely inspired me just that much more
Yeah.
in the way of I have to go and build connection not only here and of course show love to where I'm from, but it's just so much of a want to be
Mm.
able to touch all the other places, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And you are kind of a straightforward person with an unfiltered opinion. So, how does that authenticity contribute to your artistic expression? And how do you kind of navigate that balance between being honest and, maintaining a broad appeal?
Yeah, I think it's really hard, but with melodics and with singing, I think the way I'm able to create and use a lot of poetic form, and creating a lot of different like things within my song that may be questioned is
Yeah.
how I get someone to understand what I'm saying. And that doesn't mean that they're gonna understand exactly that story I'm trying to tell. Just means that they were able to connect in some way to the lyrics that I said, and that's really all my goal. So I think that personally, I'm incredibly inspired by the fact that I can sit here and say even things that I personally resent from my own actions or something that I've done wrong, and I can put that in a song and
Yeah.
I can sit back and listen to it and be like, oh my goodness, like that's self-awareness and thank you for being able to grow past that. But other people, they don't even know that it's about me. You know what I mean? It's your own personal choice, and it's your own personal choice when to say what it's about. And I think that's the really cool thing about music.
Yeah, absolutely. And the colour purple as well is quite significant to you. So, what's the symbolism behind it?
I think it just brings unity to me. Purple has always been a color that no matter where I've been, no matter the people I've been around, no matter what their identity has been, it's just always been a color that's brings someone happiness. And that's why I love purple. I always bring it in my outfits and my hair. It's just something that I really love to. I don't know. I'm always like, hey, what's your favorite color? And it's like 1 out of 3 times someone says purple. I'm like, oh my
Oh,
goodness, no way. I love purple too.
yeah,
Just like one of those conversations that just, just brings a random smile in a day. So, not only that, but I don't know. I've just always stuck to purple. It really speaks to me. And I plan to always really influence my artistry with it.
yeah, absolutely. And your slogan as well is timeless, forever somewhere. What does that mean? And I guess your name as well. How did you come up with the name Timeless?
I think it all branches back to when I really started. This is like 2.5 years ago. I really decided, okay, like I want to be an artist. And that doesn't mean 2 years ago. I was incredibly consistent with it, but
Yeah.
I came up with it with my best friend. Shout out to Araya. we came up with this name, and it just means that I'm gonna decide to tell my story and I'm gonna pursue that, but it doesn't mean that at any specific time it has to be heard. I'm not expecting that at any given time my music is just going to pursue some high level of number. My idea of it is that it's forever there. It's somewhere to anybody. It's
Yeah.
accessible. And I do believe that in some generation, when it's meant to be told and when these stories are meant to be heard, that they'll be heard. And that's just really why I stick to that. It kind of gives me the motivation of like stop worrying so much about these whole algorithms of your numbers and blowing up within a super short amount of time and signing your name to agencies. It's really just about like branding who I am, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you've got a new song featuring Hills, which is dropping very soon. So, can you give us a sneak peek into the inspiration behind this particular track and what we can expect from it?
Yeah. So I'm really fascinated in psychology and specifically in relationships and how they work between two people. And I think that especially within modern relationships nowadays, people find themselves in situations at some point in their life where they may or may not be super close to somebody or see somebody close to somebody that's not healthy for them. But I think that the beautiful part of that is that you never see what they're truly going through, and honestly, even in these relationships that may not be healthy, there are still such beautiful things going on. So I think that's what's always kept me going. And I wrote Thunder about just seeing people struggle to stay together but love each other so much, and that's just the story of pain and of love and of kind of what it feels to just lose it sometimes.
Yeah. And what else are you working on after this song? Are there any more projects coming up?
Yeah, I'm working on an album for February. I'm really just I'm looking to connect. I'm hoping to grow and meet a bunch of new artists and work on a bunch of new projects. I have a super cool song coming out with someone named Call Me Perk out of Texas.
Ooh.
I've yeah, super good work coming out. Just kind of taking the time to hear when my listeners want these projects. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in the meantime, where are we able to find all the music that you've came out with so far?
100%. Timeless is on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You can find my music video as well on YouTube. For This Is Me, SoundCloud. You can find me pretty much everywhere. You can even use me on TikTok, Snapchat. Yeah,
Brilliant. Well, many thanks for talking to us today. It's been great to have you here.
100%. Thank you so much for having me.